Good morning, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you again for coming back. Today is December the 19th, 2023. I have several news updates to share with you. Thank you again for coming back. To start with the conflict in Amara region, the authorities from that region extended the deadline for Fano militia to peacefully disarm and join the regional prosperity party uh, and to peacefully, present their case or grievances against the regional government or against the federal government. So the deadline for Fano militia, those who are fighting the Amara Region Prosperity Party and the federal government, now given extra 1 week to surrender their arms peacefully to local command post authorities or the Amara regional authorities. So that is update, but so far no big announcement of this group surrendering or giving up their arms to the local authorities. They refused. They determined to continue their resistance. So now the authorities, extended the deadline for 1 week, and we will follow it if any change this extension can bring. But so far, from the Amara medias, Fanos refused to disarm and to continue their resistance against the local prosperity party plus the federal government, security forces, police, or regional PP officials. So that's update. In case of the war in Oromia, OLA, between OLA, Oromo Liberation Army, and all these prosperity party security forces continue. Uh, According to the recent news I got from one media, the fighting is very close to the capital city, very close to Arad Kilo. It's not too far. Uh, just recently, they came close to the city, Arad Kilo, almost. It is around the city is called one city, Yaya Gulele. It's not far from Arad Kilo. So they came over there. They conducted military operation and they took Prosperity Party supporters and officials with them, successfully carried out their attack against Prosperity security officials and the security forces. After that, the government sent their forces and started intimidating the, the residents of Yaya Gulele, blaming them supporting OLA. So the engagement is extensive in Oromia region, everywhere, everywhere, in Wallaga, in Borana, and RC, everywhere. So including now, uh, uh, a new development is also coming in Eastern Hararghe and Western Hararghe areas. So OLA is expanding its operation everywhere, uh, and is very close to uh, the Arad Kilo, or where uh, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is safely secured himself. That's the update I have for Oromia and Amara region. And the wife of the former Minister of Peace, still homeless. The video is circulating in social media. She's removed from her house because of her husband's arrest. So Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed punished the whole family. She's homeless now, with with no help so far. She's removed from the home, and that's why I say this guy is brutal. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is brutal and merciless when it comes to his power. Anybody challenging his power, he will not tolerate. He's very merciless. She is suffering on the street, and also attacking the family member and preventing authorities to contact him to represent Mr. Tayyid, and the government refused, uh, deny his right to have authority, and also family contact, very limited family contact. So this is, unconstitutional, really. He's supposed to be represented by a lawyer and brought to the court within 24 hours, plus the immunity is supposed to be removed. The immunity, he got the immunity because of his cabinet member, but Abiy Ahmed and all those his judiciary officials, they don't care. They don't care. No respect the constitution. They're just following Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed order and arresting those parliament members or any other uh, ministers without due process, without anything. Let's continue with a couple of videos, then I have other news in a reading. So the first video is a very short video uh, prepared by Al Jazeera, talking about starvation in Tigray region. Let's listen to that one, continue with the other one, then I will come to uh, reading other news. Thank you again for coming back. Let's listen.
It's been more than a year since the war in Ethiopia's Tigray region ended. People here are still trying to cope with its effects on them and their economy. And a prolonged drought is making their lives even harder. In the village of Atsbi, many families are struggling.
I used to farm to feed my family and get medical treatment for my child who has mental issues. No rain means I can't farm and can't afford to buy medication.
After humanitarian aid into the region was disrupted, help is now reaching some communities. But local officials say much more is needed.
We, as the state government, we do not have any budget to assist. We even have not paid our government employees for the last 15 months. It's a very complex issue, and we do not have any capacity to help.
The interim regional administration of Tigray says approximately 2 million people are at risk of starvation. Another 5.2 million need food aid. Water sources are drying up, and what people have left, they use sparingly, as none of them know how long this crisis will last. Harun Mutasa, Al Jazeera.
Hey Google, where's the nearest restaurant?
Birch Pop-Up Restaurant is 2 kilometers away.
A debt relief of $4.5 billion from international creditors, IMF and the World Bank, is the latest news to greet Somalis. The IMF noted on Wednesday that Somalia was deserving of this, having maintained a track record of sound macroeconomic management. We're very happy because we're going to see our economy improve. This will relieve us of a heavy burden. Somalia will benefit from this major debt relief. Somalia can now issue its own currency, the country's economy will improve, and we will be able to build infrastructure such as a new airport. The green light comes as Somalia reached the completion point of the heavily indebted Poor Countries Initiative, HIPC, according to the IMF. We are very pleased with the debt relief because our currency is almost destroyed, as Somalia has not officially issued banknotes for about 32 years. We can benefit from this now because we will be able to have a new functional banknote, which will allow the country's economy to develop. As you can see, our banknote is like that, so we need to issue a new one that is acceptable worldwide. But there is more good news to come for the East African nation. The U.S. Treasury Department has said that Washington intends to cancel 100% of its remaining claims, bringing the total amount of U.S. debt relief for the country for Somalia under HIPC to around $1 billion.
Kenya and the European Union have today signed an economic partnership.
Okay, that is another news, another positive news for another African country, Kenya. So we don't have positive news for Ethiopia, really. As you heard on Al Jazeera report, it's about 2 million people in danger of starvation, plus more are in displaced camp, no rain, and no medication, and no capital budget for Tigray region for government employees. I heard today teachers protested, against the transitional government, demanding their salary for the last, 17, 18 months. They didn't get any payment. So that is the reality for Ethiopia. But what our government is doing is boasting about military capabilities, air force capabilities, claiming Ethiopian, defense force is the best of all defense forces around the world. They are boasting about air force. They are boasting about their army. The reality is that people of Ethiopia are starving, suffering with high inflation, suffering with lack of medication, lack of healthcare system, lack of agriculture, lack of good international relationship, no relationship. Our students are not getting scholarship. Those who graduated from the country's universities are becoming dependent on their family. No positive news under Prosperity Party or under Abiy Ahmed leadership. All you see is starvation, hunger, lack of funding, and high unemployment, inflation. All you see is negative and no relief of this burden the country is undergoing from IMF or from the United States. No relief, no relief. So that's the challenge we are witnessing under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. And Somalia is a good news for Somalia. Is a cancellation or a relief of $4.5 billion plus $1 billion may be coming soon. A relief coming from United States too. So this is a big news. That's a good news for Somalians or for the government of Somalia to strengthen its economy and employment and other sectors. So let's continue reading. Then I will come back to another positive news for Kenya. Partnership agreement between Kenya and European Union. That we're missing in Ethiopia. Let me read the other news. Here we go. This one is about GERD, Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan embark on fourth round of GERD negotiation in Addis Ababa. This is from Addis Standard. The fourth round of trilateral negotiations involving Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan over the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, also known as GERD, began today in Addis Ababa. Ambassador Sleshi Bakkala confirmed the initiation of talks to finalize guidelines and the rules on the first filling and annual operation of the dam. Representing Ethiopia, Ambassador Sleshi took to former Twitter to announce the commencement of the negotiations, underscoring Ethiopia's commitment to the principles established in the 2015 Declaration of Principles, or DOP, concerning the GERD project. He underscored Ethiopia's dedication to reaching a consensus that ensures equitable and reasonable use of the Nile waters. Ambassador Sleshi stated, the ministerial meeting builds upon the foundation laid by previous sessions, including the technical group meeting held yesterday. The aim is to continue effort towards convergence and a mutually beneficial resolution. These ongoing talks come on the heels of a joint statement issued on 13 July 2023 by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, in which both leaders expressed their intention to accelerate the negotiation process and reach an agreement within 4 months. However, despite repeated rounds of negotiations since the July 2023 statement, the leaders of the Nile Basin countries, Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan, have not yet finalized an agreement on the procedures for filling operating the GERD. The most recent attempt in October 2023 concluded without a resolution, despite 2 days of intensive discussions. The current negotiations are the latest in a series of discussions that have spanned over a decade as the three countries seek a comparative solution to the GERD issues. Negotiations began in 2014 following the commencement of the dam's construction by Ethiopia. In 2015, the countries signed a declaration of principles to steer the negotiations, yet finding a mutually agreeable solution has remained challenging, with several unsuccessful mediation efforts over the years. The African Union-led negotiations in 2021 didn't result in a breakthrough. Most recently, talks hosted by the United Arab Emirates in August 2022 failed to produce a draft agreement. So that is about GERD. So we'll see if they will be successful in this round, if they can sign some kind of agreement. This one is about Israel-Gaza war. Actually, it's not Israel-Gaza war, really. It should be changed into Israel continued indiscriminate bombardment against Gaza or residents of Gaza. War has a different meaning. This is not a war, really. But let me read what Al Jazeera says about this. Israel has continued its attack across the Gaza Strip, including near hospitals and in the south of the besieged enclave, where ground operations are intensifying. Here are the latest casualty figures as of December 18, 7 p.m. local time in Gaza. or 17 GMT. In Gaza, killed at least 19,453 Palestinians in Gaza alone. This includes at least 7,729 children, 5,153 women, injured more than 52,286, including at least 8,663 children, 6,327 women, missing more than 8,000. As you can see from this report, the most impacted are children and women. Sadly. The latest figure from the Palestinian Ministry of Health in the occupied West Bank are as follows. West Bank is also part of Israeli operation. Killed at least 301, including at least 72 children. Injured more than 3,365 in West Bank. This is occupied West Bank. And it's not declared war, but still they are suffering from Israeli operations. In Israel, Israeli casualties killed about 1,139, injured at least 8,730. Devastation across Gaza. According to the latest data from the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, the World Health Organization, WHO, and the Palestinian government, and as of December 13, Israeli attacks have damaged at least over half of Gaza's home. This means 305,000 residential units have been destroyed or damaged. More than 300,000 residential homes destroyed or partially damaged. 339 educational facilities damaged. 339 educational facilities damaged. 26 out of 35 hospitals not functioning. 102 ambulances damaged. 197 places of worship damaged. That's why I say this is not a war. A war has its own rules, especially when it comes to civilian infrastructure and the civilians. Ambulances and schools, these humanitarian camps, all these are, off the limit of the war. But when it comes to Israel, no limit. They can bomb ambulances, they can bomb mosques, they can bomb church, they can do whatever they want because there is no accountability. Nobody can hold Israel accountable. They are above any laws, international laws, any laws. That is the sad part of this conflict. That's why I say it's not a war. It's not a war. It's a genocide carried out by Israel against the Palestinian people, against the defenseless Palestinian people. Okay, this is another news. A dictator in Egypt won third round of election. Al-Sisi. Al-Sisi win Egypt's presidential election with 89.6% of the vote and secures third term in office. Third term. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, who has ruled with unquestioned grip for the past 9 years, won re-election to a third 6-year term in office. Election authorities announced Monday he ran against 3 virtually unknown opponents. These are fake opponents, I'm telling you. No opponent in Egypt. No credible opponent. He destroyed all of them. That's why I call him a dictator. He destroyed them. He arrested, he killed all Muslim brothers. He jailed most of them, so he can win 90% or 89% every cycle. But I think there may be term limit after third. He cannot run maybe. Al-Sisi recorded a landslide victory, securing 89.6% of the vote, the National Election Authority said. Turnout was 66.8% of more than 67 million registered voters. The voting percentage is the highest in the history of Egypt, declared Hazim Badawi, the election commission chief, who announced the official result in a televised news conference. Credit Associated Press. Yeah, this is his party. There is no credible opposition. He crushed them all, and he came through military coup, if you remember, against the Muslim Brotherhood. And after that, he put them in jail, he killed them, and now he became a dominant figure. He can win 90% or 100%. The same situation might happen in Ethiopia in the coming election. No question, Abiy Ahmed will be a dictator. Okay, the last reading for today is from U.S. State Department, International Migrant Day. This is press statement. So today is International Migrant Day. So this is a press statement from U.S. State Department. Let me read. On International Migrants Day, we recognize the hundreds of millions of migrants living outside of their home countries. It is imperative that countries expand lawful pathways, protect vulnerable migrants, promote inclusion, and advance policies and processes to promote safe, orderly, and humane migration. The United States is committed to leading these efforts globally. The United States has led the largest expansion in decades of lawful migration pathways to help vulnerable migrants, refugees, and other displaced persons. We commend other countries that are likewise expanding regular pathways, creating safe options for migrants while respecting national sovereignty and security. The tens of thousands of individuals have benefited from rapid processing and support through the Safe Mobility initiatives since its launch in June 2023. We have resettled more refugees than any other country in the world, welcoming more than 3.5 million refugees into communities across the country since 1975. Immigrants make tremendous social and economic contributions that drive our nation's competitiveness and innovation on the global stage. Worldwide, we are the largest single provider of humanitarian assistance, reaching people in need, including refugees, conflict victims, internally displaced persons, stateless persons, and vulnerable migrants. In the fiscal year 2023, the United States provided nearly $15 billion in life-saving humanitarian assistance. Together with our partners, we are working toward a future where migration is a safe, regular, voluntary, and informed choice. So that is from United States State Department concerning the Migrants Day today. So yes, the United States is doing a lot for refugees, welcoming refugees, but its policy against the Palestinians is not appreciated, especially the Biden administration. It's just unbelievable. Keep watching the Israeli bombardment for more than now it's 2 months. We are in the third month now. Continued destruction. I never seen Israeli acting like this. I have seen the previous war, uh, the bombardment of buildings, but I've never seen this is complete eradication of Palestinians' homes. More than 300,000 already destroyed. So that's why I say here, Biden administration policy is wrong. It's wrong, really. It's keep vetoing the ceasefire calls and providing military support, diplomatic support, and intimidation, harassment in the United States against who are dare to speak against the policy of the government, against the policy of Israel, is including intimidation and harassment against college students, college presidents, and the university presidents. I never seen too much intimidation on behalf of Israeli. Okay, let's continue with another positive news. Good news for Kenya. Partnership between Kenya and European Union. We need a leadership like Ruto. Engagement with the global community. This will create new jobs and economic opportunity for Kenyans. We need something like this. Let's listen.
Agreement, that's EPA. The agreement seeks to boost bilateral trade on the key pillars of manufacturing, exports, and foreign direct investment. The partnership, which was signed after 7 years of negotiations, will see Kenyan products enter the EU market duty-free and allow Kenya to increase its volumes of trade with the over 27 European countries. Now, Kenya will, in turn, open its market gradually to imports from the EU, benefiting from transitional periods. Following today's signing, the agreement will be presented before both the EU Parliament and the Kenyan Parliament for ratification procedures before it takes effect.
So we are deepening trade ties and we are building up our own economic resilience. So this economic partnership agreement is a win-win situation on both sides. Very important for us is also that whatever cooperation and trade we have together, that, as you said, there's added value and creation of jobs locally. This is very important, that the raw product is not extracted and taken outside the country, but that the added value is created here, that the supply chain is built here to create good jobs locally. I think this is a new approach, but a very important one.
This ceremony is important because we have successfully negotiated a framework for the delivery of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda by connecting our hard-working workers and entrepreneurs with transformative opportunities in one of Kenya's biggest export markets, which accounts for 21% of our country's total exports, worth $1.4 billion, or close to 200 billion Kenya shillings.
Injured in Israeli airstrikes, Palestinian children were rushed to hospitals Monday in Gaza. The same day, Human Rights Watch accused Israel of blocking Palestinians' access to water and using starvation as weapon in the Gaza Strip. Tel Aviv rejected the accusations, calling them anti-Semitic. U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, who met with several Israeli officials on Monday, including his counterpart Yoav Gallant, said protecting Palestinian civilians in Gaza was a moral duty and a strategic imperative.
Democracies are stronger and more secure when we uphold the law of war. We will continue to stand up for Israel's bedrock right to defend itself. And we will also continue to urge the protection of civilians during conflict and to increase the flow of humanitarian aid into Gaza.
Gallant affirmed that his forces aim to minimize harm to the civilian population. Israel pursued its goal to destroy Hamas, a militant group that launched the deadly October 7th terrorist attack inside Israel, killing 1,200 people and taking some hostage.
We are defending our values and we operate according to international law. Yet, anytime we discuss humanitarian issues,
there is no international law, man.
The 129
we don't respect any international law. There is no international law.
This is the most humanitarian issue.
While warning the Lebanon-based militia Hezbollah and other Iranian proxies to avoid escalating the conflict in the region, Austin and Gallant laid out their visions for the post-war era in the Palestinian territories.
We know that the past 72 days have been some of the most painful days in Israel's history. But it would compound this tragedy if all that was waiting for the Israeli people and your Palestinian neighbors at the end of this awful war was more insecurity, fury, and despair. But it is in the interest of both Israelis and Palestinians to move forward toward two states, living side by side in mutual security.
We know that Hamas will not control Gaza. Israel will not control Gaza in any civilian way. We will conduct any needed operational and military effort in order to secure our future, and we are building the routes for non-hostile partners in the other side.
For Palestinian Authority Prime Minister Mohammed Shtaya, however, the priority is an immediate end to the war.
This world must help us to stop the aggression and end the occupation. The Palestinian leadership is not tailored to anyone. Its legitimacy comes from its people, and the voice of the people is in the ballot box.
The U.S. efforts to help stabilize the Middle East will continue this week, with Defense Secretary Austin expected to hold several meetings in Bahrain and Qatar. Veronica Valderas Iglesias, VOA News, Washington.
Okay. So the big issue is when it's gonna happen, when the ceasefire gonna happen after Israeli destroy Palestinians in Gaza and West Bank, or very soon. The vote today is supposed to happen to call for ceasefire, postponed. It's giving more time for Israelis to continue their bombardment and the killing. It's really painful, really, very painful. And Biden administration is just playing around, giving all, whatever needed for this war: money, diplomatic coverage, and weapons, anything Israeli need, claiming Israel has a right to defend itself. You think this is defending itself by completely destroying its neighbor? And then they're talking about eliminating Hamas. Hamas is in the Palestinians' mind. I don't know how they're going to do it. They can destroy West Bank and Gaza, but still, as long as that land belongs to Palestinians, Hamas will become permanent member of the cabinet or Palestinian Authority, whatever. You cannot eliminate the whole generation. It's impossible. That is an excuse to destroy the city of Gaza and to kill more than almost 19,000 Palestinians. Biden created a bad historical moment for his leadership, and all his team could be blamed for this in generation. That's all I'm gonna say really for today, and I hope Ethiopia will have a positive outlook, positive engagement like Kenya with European Union, generate fund billions for Ethiopians, for university students who have graduated and being dependent on their family, and those farmers who cannot produce because of war, and the traders, they don't have any hope. So they have to figure out to bring a different leadership in that country. Abiy is about drones, about tanks, about defense forces, nothing else. So how do you expect development, positive outlook from this leadership? Nothing, none. You cannot get anything as long as he continues his war, as long as he is wanted by International Criminal Court very soon, either by internal court or by international court. His team is, committed a crime in Ethiopia, whether against Abagada Karayus, or against the war in Tigray, in Amara region, in Oromia region. Their hand is full of blood, full of blood. We hope to see justice in that country and a better leadership for that country. That's all I'm going to say for today. Thank you for joining me. Be safe. So long, everyone.